Making a well-tread genre interesting again can be a monumental challenge, especially when you're talking about a genre that a lot of people have a ton of nostalgia for. The game we're talking about today, Kingsway, uses that nostalgia to its advantage by rooting the entire thing in not just a nostalgia for a type of game, but nostalgia for a specific time and place, in a way that does a fantastic job of refreshing what can often feel like a rather tired genre. At its core, Kingsway is a pretty basic dungeon crawl-centric RPG. You'll move from dungeon to dungeon, killing enemies to gain XP, level up, and get new loot, while simultaneously completing quests that supply the same sorts of rewards. What makes Kingsway unique is how its interface looks, something you've likely caught on to by simply watching the video up to this point. The entire way by which you interact with the game is through a stylized version of the sort of interface a 90s era computer would have, complete with all the quirks that were inherent in the era's operating systems. And the Windows 9X era aesthetic isn't just a visual thing, it also has a lot to do with the way the game plays. Kingsway goes well out of its way to build basically every single classic dungeon crawling mechanic into their faux Windows operating system. If an enemy disappears, for example, the window that allows you to combat that enemy will minimize to the taskbar and make you seek it out and maximize the window again before you can interact with it. When a curse is cast on you or a boulder is rolling towards you, a rapidly moving pop-up darts across your screen. If you can manage to close it in time, you'll avoid the approaching danger. And while that layered retro nostalgia for both old operating systems and old games is certainly the game's greatest strength, it also ends up being one of its greatest weaknesses. The fact is that after you complete the game a few times, you'll really have no reason to keep going back to it. The game is set up like a roguelike with permadeath mechanics, but it doesn't really have the same difficulty level that we've come to expect from those sorts of games. So you end up with what is a really short game that you'll finish the first time rather quickly. The game will become more difficult in subsequent playthroughs, but Kingsway has very quickly diminishing returns. Still, for the usual price the game demands, or for the many of you who likely picked it up when it was free on Twitch, Kingsway is very much worth it. There have been a lot of really cool things done with retro aesthetics here that absolutely take the idea of nostalgia in games and push it to its absolute limits. And I'd honestly like to see more games take that approach, combining the nostalgia for a certain game or type of game and the platform that they were most commonly seen on. On In Case You Missed It, I look at games that were ignored when they came out or have been forgotten since. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.